Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel, JS Dwayne here. Today's date is March 12th, 2020. In today's video, I'm going to talk about, is bitterness a good trait to have or a bad trait to have? The reason why I came up with this topic is because on my 7th live, I was feeling all this bitter energy coming my way. And I was wondering where all this bitter energy was coming from, and in a way, it affected me during my live a few weeks ago, and during that live my throat was so dry and sore. It's like I couldn't really talk with none of my supporters or subscribers on my channel, and I remember that one of my Filipino supporters was telling me that I needed to go to bed and to take a rest after I finished my life, which I did, and I went to bed an hour later because I went on her page to give her support too, and on her live, she was telling me that I needed to rest and to go to sleep, which I did, and I took her advice, and I stretched my bones out after that live because I felt very tense. So the next day I felt a lot better, and I felt a little bit better the next day. And to sum it all up, I'm always the type of person to always speak my mind and to hold nothing back, to speak my piece and to have opinions. My mother taught me this from a very young age, to speak your mind without going overboard, without offending anybody or hurting anybody's feelings, because that stuff could come right back to you in an unexpected source. But I learned to always speak my mind, to always have opinions, and to hold nothing back because, from a young age, I was taught to always have a voice and to hold nothing back. And, if I come off a little too strong in some of my videos, I apologize. I don't mean no harm. I've always been the type of person to speak my opinions, to speak my mind. And I've been like this since I was younger. And I apologize towards anybody that I offend in any one of my videos. I apologize, and I mean it, and I mean it from my heart, mind, body, and soul. I mean it. And when you apologize to someone, you got to really mean it from the mind, body, and soul and heart. There's some people out there that actually give half-ass apologies, and people start to figure that out once in a blue moon. It's like a lot of people that give half-ass apologies don't admit that they're wrong in a situation. And I'm always the type of person don't like bringing their personal lives on YouTube format because I feel like it's just nobody's business. And I'm always the type of person to always keep my life very private, and I'm always going to keep it that way unless otherwise. And I apologize towards anybody that I offended on my videos, and I mean it. Like, seriously, I personally feel like I haven't really offended anybody at all. Like, I don't feel like I did, but if I did, just let me know. But I feel like I haven't. But I'm always the type of person to always have opinions, to speak my truth, and to speak my piece. And I feel like I've been 100% truthful on my videos. I haven't lied in none of my videos, and I haven't been fake towards none of my videos that I made. And I may not be the best editor, but I'm trying. Doing videos takes work and skill, and one day I might be a better editor in the near future. But, I apologize if I offend anybody towards my strong opinions and strong mindset. I've always been like this since I was a young kid, and I feel like I should never change myself towards anybody. But I mean it, that I apologize towards anybody that I offended, on YouTube format. And I don't like taking my personal life on YouTube at all, because a lot of people are going to ask you a lot of questions, and I don't want that for myself. So I'm going to keep that at bay. When it comes to, being bitter, bitterness deals with anger, resentment, animosity, and especially when that person has feelings for you for a long period of time, especially if that love has faded away from you throughout the years, or if that person faded away from you. It's like if the love faded away from me, and the love faded away from me as well. And I'm gonna give two examples of past relationships that I've been in where I was very bitter, and it was not a very healthy situation at all. And I remember one time when I was younger, I was like in my 20s. I was involved with this one guy. I'm not gonna give his name nor description or his age at that time, but I was older than him. And I remember I was in a relationship for a couple weeks, and we got to know each other. We met on the internet, and we spoke and we hanged out for a little bit. And I was living with my homegirl at the time, who I was staying with. I'm not gonna say her name either, but I was in a relationship with this one guy. We dated for a couple weeks, and I thought everything was going well for me and him. But out of nowhere, he broke up with me. And, it left me very angry. It left me bitter. I actually teared because I just didn't understand why he broke up with me. I found out the real reason why he broke up with me, and it took 9 years, and which didn't make no sense to me because I personally felt that he told my friend this, my best male friend, Alex, which he should have never told. Like, that's causing drama. Like, are you serious? Causing drama for no reason at all. You don't do that. Is to go around telling your ex-boyfriend's best friend your relationship issues. You don't do that. If you wanted to tell me this, you should have reached out to me online instead of telling my best male friend this, because that's causing drama. And the whole situation, left me bitter for the last few years. It left me bitter. Like, I had a lot of animosity. I remember one time I actually threatened the guy. Like, I did. I'm not gonna lie. I actually did, because the way he treated me, and it left me like very ill towards him. And I remember when I saw him on the street, like, he was trying to get back to me because after he broke with me, he got with a guy that had a sexually transmitted disease. And I was told about his next boyfriend after he broke up with me, like, a year prior, like 2009. And he got with him in 2010, 2 weeks after he broke up with me. And I was really hurt, and I felt rejected is because the way that my ex-boyfriend at the time did me. And I told him online on Downlink, when Downlink exists, it was like a LGBT MySpace. And I told him on email or messaging was that you're going to reap what you sow. And, I threatened him. I actually told him that I was going to slap him. Go after him. I really did. And, I was really hurt because the way I was treated. And I personally felt that you should never be bitter towards someone you don't know like that. It's because you never had that bond with someone you don't know. I could see if, you've known a person for a while, or if you have that relationship bond with them and you met the person in person, you know what I mean? Like, you have a right to be bitter if that person mistreats you and so forth. And I felt like, my ex-boyfriend at the time really mistreated me, and he hurted me. And I found out that he had an STD, from the ex-boyfriend that he got involved with after he broke up with me. And I found out this information from this lesbian woman who I used to work with at the convention center years ago in Rochester. I'm giving examples, what I went through in my past relationships and how it caused me to be very bitter and to be resentful. And I remember back in 2013, when I went to LGBT Pride or Gay Pride in Rochester, New York. I went to Pride that year, and I saw my ex-boyfriend with a new boyfriend that he had, boyfriend after he broke up with me, and then the next boyfriend. And I met this ex-boyfriend that he was with back then. It was his then boyfriend, but the ex is now. And like, when I saw him, I actually wanted to knock him out. Like, seriously, like, I really wanted to. Like, I had a lot of animosity towards him because of the way he treated me after that breakup, and that really hurted me because I personally felt that he broke up with me for no apparent reason at all, and it left me feeling, resentful, full of hatred, and being bitter is not the way to go. It causes sicknesses. It causes diseases. Like, what's the point for all of this? It's just no use for all of this. For example, hell no fairy like a woman scorned. What about a man scorned? A man scorned is a lot worse than a woman scorned. A woman can get over certain things very quickly compared to a man. Like, certain men can hold grudges for weeks, months, even years. And I held grudges towards my ex for 3 years. And it was just not healthy at all. And it's not going to make me a better person at all. And like, I decided to make peace with him during that pride. back in 2013. So I thought, and then he ran into my best male friend in New York City and started telling our relationship business, and I felt disrespected because you don't do that. Telling your ex boyfriend's best friend or why you broke up is not my friend's business, and I have a right to be mad, and you can't take that away from me. I felt some type of way because you don't do that to people. And I told him that he was going to reap what he sowed, and he did. And people started talking about him, dogging him, and he told my friend this. And I said, why is he telling you this now? I warned him 9 years prior. So why is this being talked about years prior? You reap what you sow. You don't do people like that. And I learned from my experiences to be very careful who you get yourself involved with, because that person, if you break up with the wrong person, that person can hold a grudge against you for years to come. And it's just not a good look at all. And as I mentioned, my ex caught an STD after dating this next boyfriend after he broke up with me. And he was trying to get back with me in 2011. And he gave me his number and everything. I didn't really want him like that. Because I was just over him, and I was still bitter, and I was still mad. And, and then after what I heard about him, no. I decided not to give him another chance, and so I dodged a bullet. And would I be friends with him again? Nope, because I feel like he broke that trust, telling my friend me and his relationship business. You don't do stuff like that, and it left me very bitter, full of hatred towards him. And yes, I did threaten him, because the way I was treated, and it really hurted me, because I personally felt that that guy didn't really give me a chance. 2 weeks is not enough time to actually know a person. You get to know who they are. It's like an introduction. You get to know them first. And I feel like he haven't got to know me, and actually got to know his true self after he broke up with me. And I feel like I waste my time. And I learned that you don't give your all to, or you don't give your all to people who doesn't really want to. Like I learned not to give my all towards people who doesn't want to be interested towards you, who doesn't deserve it. So don't give your all towards someone who doesn't deserve it. And I learned that after that breakup, and this was 10 years ago. And I remember one other relationship I was in. I met my other ex, walking down the street going to the store. I was very hungry that night, and I was buying pork chops. And, I met my ex, I only saw him at night. He didn't want to be seen with me in public, which I'm not really a feminine person at all. But he didn't want to be seen with a gay person. And, during that time, he was going through a divorce. And, I was about 23 at the time, and because the ex that I talked about before this one, I was 22. I was 23 when I dealt with this one, and we was on a DL relationship, and he was on the verge of divorce. And, I was very young, dumb, and naive to the fact that I didn't really know a lot about him. And, with me personally, I refuse to be in a relationship with someone who's married, taken, or in a relationship. I prefer someone who's divorced or single. Don't tell me that you're single and in a relationship, because it's not going to work out. It's going to cause problems. So, during that time, I was very young. I was in a relationship on and off about 6 months, during that time, on and off for 6 months. And I just couldn't take it anymore, during that time. And, I was technically the side dude. I was the side dude technically, because he met me first. And I think 3 months after we saw each other on the DL, or the down low. I think the down low refers to Black and Latino men having relationships with men on the DL. And I felt, disrespected. I felt a lot of hatred, a lot of bitter, because he was having a relationship with this Asian girl. I'm not telling my ex's name, and I'm not telling his age and where he lives. But those two people were part of my life, during that time, 10 years ago. And when it comes to a relationship with me, I don't be single for a long time. Men come after me just like that. It's really crazy. It would have been the same thing if I was a heterosexual male. or bisexual male. Men or women would be coming after me just like that. But, I don't be single for a long time. And I had to learn how to really love myself during that time. And, when that happened, I was really upset. I felt bitter. I slammed the door in the dude's face. And he had the nerve to tell me that, he was very disappointed, at me because the way I acted. Like, come on. Like, dude, you can actually give me an STD or an STI or sexually transmitted infection. Same thing as sexually transmitted disease. But I was able to learn my lesson, like not to have sex with anything of anything. I believe in getting to know a person before you do anything physical. I like to have more of an emotional connection with dealing with someone, and I learned from my mistakes from those two relationships. And like that ex of mine left me very bitter. The second ex left me bitter, and I was hurt because he was in a relationship with me and then a relationship with the girl. And I remember one time I was wanted to really expose him, but I'm not the type of person to be very messy like that, and I'm gonna probably keep this to myself. But I will talk about it, and that really hurted me. So please, I was bitter towards my second ex for like a few months, and then when I moved to Hamlin, which is near Parma, Hilton, and Greece, New York, I live in Erie County, and I'm originally from Onondaga County. Before I moved to Hamlin, Parma area, Hilton area, when I moved out there, I remember I added my ex on Facebook, and I remember him messaging me saying, can I come over to your apartment? Let's hang out and cuddle and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, I'm in a relationship. Like, I don't have the time, and I didn't really respond after that. And I was with this new boyfriend for like a few years, and it was great, but I felt like I wanted to be single and to take care of myself and be free, for a little bit, to see what's out there. Relationships is work. It takes a lot of work, and I don't want to be with someone who discriminate me towards my height, like I mentioned in my last video about my height video. I mentioned that, like, I don't want to be with someone who discriminates me towards my height or talks about my height all the time towards me, because that would make me feel some type of way, and it would make me feel very uncomfortable. As I mentioned, I come from a very short family. Both of my parents are short people, so I come from a very short family. But other than that, those are the two examples of me being bitter. And I learned to get over my bitterness by meditation, listen to music, jump around in the house, let all that negativity come out of your system, and you feel better about it. And with my first ex, I got over that in 3 years. And I remember one guy on YouTube told me, you should never be bitter, move on from that, and which I did. And I'm doing a lot better. Once you release all that bitter energy, away, you'll become a better person. And also, during that time, I felt that the love that I had, faded away from age 26 to age 29. Instead of the love fading away from me, I feel like I faded away from the love, because I feel like, when you're involved with someone, don't try to break up a great family that you had, for someone who is very vulnerable. You know what I mean? So I feel like the love faded away from me instead of the love fading away from me. I feel like I faded away from the love instead of the love faded away from me. From the time I was 26 years old, I was 26 6 years ago. I feel like the love faded away from me, during that time. And I don't want to come between anybody's relationships. I'd rather be with someone who is single and or divorced, not taken or married. I have respect for people's relationships and marriages, and I don't want to come in between someone who's taken or in a relationship or married. Like, I refuse to do that now, because it's just all types of wrong. Because I've been in that situation back when I was younger, and to me, like, personally, I don't feel like that's a cool look. People will look at you very differently. Oh crap, this person is a home wrecker and this and whatever. And I felt very dumb, young, and naive to follow that trend. And like I met people on the internet and stuff like that, and I wasn't too pleased. And with me, I don't like meeting people online. I'm more of a type of person that like to meet people in person. Like like when you look at the person, love at first sight. That's what I believe in. I don't like going on websites like Grinder or Tinder, trying to get a date or talk to someone, because I personally feel like that's just a waste of time. I used to do that type of stuff when I was in my early 20s or late teens. To me, it's just a waste of time because I know what I want now. And I, since I've been through a lot of relationships in my past and even recently, I'm single now. I learned how to restrict myself and be very careful who you get yourself involved with. Even towards the AIDS issue, I remember my friend Alex, he wanted me to actually talk about the HIV situation in Rochester, where this guy is going around spreading HIV virus to young guys here in Rochester without telling them. And he told me to do a video on this many months ago, but I forgot to do it. I've been working and I had a lot of stuff on my mind. But I promised Alex that I was going to do a video like this where, a guy is going around spreading HIV to young guys here in Rochester. And to me personally, that's just not fair. And my ex-boyfriend is an example. After he broke up with me, he got with someone that had STD. And the guy spread it to him, and there's no cure for it. So I'm giving you an example towards what not to do. You know, protect yourself and be very careful, and there's some people don't tell their status to you, and then there's a Caucasian blonde guy here in Rochester affecting people. And I remember it was this black guy on YouTube. I was watching a video, a black guy, I believe he was like a wrestler, and he was in a relationship with white women, and he had children with this white women, and the two kids were HIV negative, but the mother of the children, the mother of the children was positive because he spread the HIV virus to her without telling her. I'm pretty sure she knew, and spread it towards other women, and the other women pressed charges on him. And it took a while, and the guy got 30 years in prison because of his actions without protecting himself. And he knew that he had the disease, but he up there spreading it. Like gay guys, they do the same shit all the time. They spread it and don't tell you. Well, I really affect this person. Like, how the hell are you gonna do that? That shit is like a prison. It's like a prison. You don't do that to people to destroy their lives and hurt them like that. Because when you do stuff like that, karma is real. That stuff come back to you in no time. So be very careful who you get yourself involved with. And like that time, me and my first ex, we wasn't talking. And it was not my situation. But the information I knew about that other guy, I should have told him. But we was beefing, and we was really beefing and close to actually fighting each other. But I learned how to grow away from situations like that because it's just a waste of my time, and I was given those examples. So hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. A man could feel scorned too if he feels mistreated or hurt by someone that he dearly love or have a crush on, and that person actually dumped him because that person feel like he or she moved on or moved away because feelings for that person haven't really been the same. And as I mentioned earlier, I feel like the love has faded away from me instead of myself fading away from the love from the time I was 26 to 29. And I personally felt that I wanted to move on because I feel like I don't want to get my heart broken, again. So meeting someone that you don't know like that. So I learned from my experiences, and I hope that people can learn from me to do the right thing, to do and to what not to do. So please don't be bitter like myself. Please don't be bitter, towards an ex towards 3 to 2 years. Like I could understand if you was bitter towards someone mistreated you towards your childhood, school, or something like that. That's understandable. But people can move on from that. But they can never forget. Like even if a family member hurted you or something like that, you can be bitter towards a certain degree. But you can never forget. But never you can never you can never forget the situation because it's always going to be on your conscience. So please don't be a me. Don't be bitter for all these years. Do not be bitter at all because it's not healthy and it's going to make you sick and so forth. So please learn your lesson and be very careful towards, being bitter and to have a dark heart and to have a sour soul, because it's not going to work out for you in the long run. So if a person rejects you or anything like that, move on. Like, I could be friends with a person. That's fine. Anybody. It could be a male, female, or anybody. A transgender individual. It could be anybody. Just move on from your experiences and do better for yourself. And I'm gonna cut it at that. So I wanted to give you examples of being bitter, what not to have, what to a trait that is good to have and what not to have. I personally feel like being bitter is not a good trait to have at all, because it could really mess you up in the long term. And sometimes you could be bitter towards a good reason if that person really mistreated you towards family or friend settings, if that person betrayed you. So it could be half and half. But I lean towards being more of a bad trait because it's not a good look in the long run. And also, I heard that the coronavirus has spread where I live in Monroe County. I live near Buffalo, and I heard that the one person, it was a guy. He was traveling from Italy, and the guy was infected with the virus, and he was sick, and some female friend of his picked him up from New York, from the airport, and drove him to Rochester. He knew he was sick, and he went to the hospital, and he was tested positive. And my friend Vanessa, she posted it on her page, this morning, saying that the guy who was admitted to Highland Hospital had, the coronavirus disease, and he was quarantined. So please pray for us people here in Monroe County, near New York, upstate New York, in Monroe County. I live outside of Rochester, New York. Please pray for me and pray for everybody surrounding my surroundings here, towards the people here. Please pray for every one of us here, because the disease is here. I think only one person only has it here. So please pray for us. And that's all I can say. Just pray for us, because I heard it spread it here in the city of Rochester. I pray that it's not spread it in my hometown of Syracuse, New York. I hope not, because I was told when I went to my appointment today that the person was in the back trunk, so that he won't spread it to anybody else. So please keep us in your prayers here in Monroe County, in Rochester, New York, and my hometown, Syracuse, New York, which is in Onondaga County. Please keep us safe and pray for us, okay? Pray for us, okay? All right. Peace and love to everybody, and you guys have a very good week. All right, good day, people, and peace to all. Pray for us, okay?